This week on Talking Pictures with Neil Rosen, we'll look at Aaron Sorkin's new historical legal drama, The Trial of the Chicago 7, a remake of the Hollywood classic Rebecca with Lily James and Armie Hammer, and the Robert De Niro comedy The War with Grandpa, which co-stars Uma Thurman and Christopher Walken. Plus, we'll tell you about the new movie Kajillionaire, about a family of small-time con artists. We've got all that and many more movie picks coming up. I'm Neil Rosen. Welcome to Talking Pictures. It's our monthly Critics Roundtable show where we debate what's worth watching and what's not when it comes to new releases, hidden gems, and Hollywood classics. Now, we know that most movie theaters are still closed and you're probably craving some entertainment. So, along with my panel, who are all streaming from home, we have plenty of movies for you to watch at home. Joining me are Bill McCuddy from Gold Derby. Hey there, Bill.
Hi, Neil. Always believe the cards.
Lisa Rossman from Signs and Sirens.
Hi, Neil. Please ignore Bill's cards.
Yeah, let's try and do that. And returning to the show, our friend from Collider, Perry Nemiroff. How are you there, Perry?
I am doing very well, and I am proud to bring the Halloween spirit to the show right now.
Well, we've got a bunch of Halloween selections as we go through the show, and let's start out with a look at several new films that are available on demand or on streaming services. This is not a Halloween film, but let's start with something called The Trial of the Chicago 7, and let's take a look at a clip.
We want to underscore again that we're coming to Chicago peacefully, but whether we're given permits or not, we're coming.
We're going to Chicago to protest the Vietnam War.
And there's no place to be right now but in it.
We watched for a decade while these rebels without a job tell us how to prosecute a war. Well, they're going to spend their 30s in a federal facility, real time.
Bill, tell us about The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Well, Aaron Sorkin is back, and that's always good news. He's writing and directing. I still don't like his directing as much as his writing, but he's getting better. In 1969, 7 people were charged by the feds with conspiracy stemming from the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Sorkin has assembled a dream cast, including Eddie Redmayne, Sacha Baron Cohen, Frank Langella, who's chews the scenery up as a corrupt judge, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt as the prosecutor. But the secret weapon in all of this is Mark Rylance, who plays William Kunstler, the defense attorney. The whole thing is not as Sorkin-y as I would like with the rat-a-tat dialogue. However, this is still an important story, well told, and I can't recommend it enough.
Perry?
It's an important story, and I think it gets an inherent value because of that. I also think it is a highly entertaining and riveting version of this story, and I think that has a lot to do with the boldness of it, the pacing of the movie, and also these magnetizing performances. But there were certain parts that felt a little contrived to me that I felt was weighing the whole thing down a little too much. And one of the examples that has been on the top of my mind ever since I saw the movie was a moment like when Dellinger punches the bailiff. That moment worked well enough all on its own, but then I got a manufactured reaction shot from his son sitting in the audience. I don't need things like that when someone like John Carroll Lynch can sell a scene like that all on his own. So minus beats like that were taking me out of the story, I still think it's a solid watch.
Lisa?
I am so not a Sorkin fan. I think he's the dictionary definition of mansplaining. So you can trust me when I say that this movie is very good and very necessary. I mean, he always shines with legal and political matter. And I was actually really affected by its lack of glibness. I was worried he was going to put it under the old rat-a-tat-tat. And instead, the dialogue, a lot of which actually happens, really sings. And so does the underlying message, which is something that we all need to hear right now, which is that sometimes radicalism and uprising are actually the most sensible approach to certain moments in history, like that one. And I don't know, maybe this one.
I should have mentioned also, Neil, that there's some real footage of the riots that's edited into this thing really effectively.
Very effectively.
Well,
please say you liked it.
I loved it. And to your point, Lisa, it is so relevant to what's going on today. As they say defiantly in the movie, the whole world is watching. They keep saying that in the movie, and the whole world is watching now. And
exactly.
Aaron Sorkin is in his wheelhouse. I mean, this is the courtroom drama guy. This is the guy who did A Few Good Men. This is the guy who did on Broadway the adaptation of To Kill a Mockingbird. So he's very comfortable in the courtroom, and it's an absorbing courtroom drama. It's a great history lesson, and it's also an actor's showcase. I mean, I couldn't believe, as Bill was rattling off, he told you all the people that were in the movie. I just couldn't believe that the cast that they got for this. I also like the blending of the courtroom proceedings with the reenactments of the protests, with the flashbacks. I thought the whole thing worked very well. All right, moving on. Lisa, tell us about a movie called Kajillionaire.
Well, Neil, this is the newest film from Queen of Indie Whimsy, Miranda July. And maybe because it's the first film that she didn't also star in addition to writing and directing, it's the first one she's made that I don't find annoying. In fact, I found it really, really moving. Evan Rachel Wood is barely recognizable as sort of a gruff, affectless daughter of Richard Jenkins and Deborah Winger. Oof, that's a trio right there. And the three of them survive by pulling off these very, very, very low-level cons, like hilariously low-level cons, until Gina Rodriguez joins their cadre. And Evan Rachel Wood starts having revelations galore. Let's just say that. Miranda July specializes, for those who haven't seen her film, she specializes in these very oddball details that kind of read like rose-colored dioramas. And sometimes they annoy me, like I said, but this one packs such a well-plotted emotional punch that it cuts through the twee is what I mean, the twee.
Bill, what do you think?
Well, I'm recommending this, even though it's not so much a movie as just an ultra cool acting class. The performances are great, and it's such an odd story. I can only imagine all that foam coming out of the walls, and they're having to run home to clean it. It's small, but we get to see Deborah Winger so infrequently. I'm recommending it.
Perry.
This is probably one of my favorite of Miranda July's. Now, I still do think that the wackiness of the story might make it a love it or strongly dislike it watch for many out there. But for me, it wound up in the love category. And, like you guys said, the whole main ensemble in this is something else. But when you see what Evan Rachel Wood accomplishes with a role that could have just gotten buried by like her quirks and eccentricities, it's really something else just with how earnest she makes that character. I mean, that right there is the reason why her arc throughout the movie and her figuring out who she is and who she wants to be beyond her parents resonates so much.
Well, I didn't like this movie at all. And yes, they're all good actors, but this failed to pull me in emotionally on any level. I mean, there's a tonal shift in the movie, and that didn't work for me. When it tries to be amusing, it's not. When it tries to be emotional, it didn't get me there either. So what else is there?
It reminds us of you, Neil.
I didn't like this dialogue-wise or story-wise. And, I usually like con artist movies, but their little cons didn't interest me either, nor did Evan Rachel Wood's character. I found this to be boring.
You don't do roll. It was too subtle for you. Let's just be clear.
Well, regardless, I'm moving on to another movie, which Perry will take us through, which she recommended that we all watch, called Spontaneous.
Yeah, this movie is not so subtle at all, Neil. Sorry. Spontaneous. It stars Catherine Langford as Mara. She is a high school senior, and one day, members of her class just randomly start exploding. And that is the premise of the movie. I love this one. It is one heck of a first feature from Brian Duffield. I think he just does such a great job showing off what makes his style so unique. And he also adapted the screenplay too from the book by Aaron Starmer. And the way the book and now the movie manages to tap into what I love in fun, pick 'em off, crazy type horror movies, but also having a real poignancy to it and also having a romance element that played extremely well. Just seeing all three of those things exist side by side throughout this movie really hit me hard and didn't just make it a fun watch, but it also gave me a whole bunch of concepts to chew on about just living and mortality well after.
Lisa?
Well, this is the kind of movie I like to call subtle with an audible B. I would never recommend it for the big screen. It's haphazard, it's jumbled, and you know what? It's super likable. It's a lot like its central character, actually. I mean, it limps along a little bit at times, but the main character is so strong-minded and subversive and unusual for a female protagonist that I enjoyed it. I will say I think the ending is a disappointment. It sort of just ends. And her last speech had me rolling my eyes to the high heavens. But I dig the movie overall.
Bill?
And those eyes of yours do roll to the high heavens
do.
often. I will say that just when you think it's dragging a little, somebody else blows up.
Yeah.
This, if you try to describe this movie to someone and tell them to watch it, they won't believe you or they won't listen to you. It's really almost unexplainable. And even if you took all of those explosions out, it's the ultimate teen angst movie. I thoroughly enjoyed this and couldn't recommend it more highly.
It's a sci-fi comedic horror teen romance movie, and it's sort of hard
for those.
Yeah, well, it's hard to gel all of that together, but writer-director Brian Duffield sort of pulls it off. And I really like the two leads, Catherine Langford, and she had great chemistry with Charlie Plummer. And unlike the last movie, this one does also have a tonal shift 2/3 of the way through, but unlike the last movie where I didn't like that tonal shift, this one I kind of don't mind it, and I would recommend this for its relevance, uniqueness, and its performances. Rebecca is a new remake of the famed 1940 Alfred Hitchcock classic. Armie Hammer and Lily James star. Let's take a look at a clip.
I'm asking you to marry me, you little fool.
Mrs. De Winter, may I present Mrs. Danvers?
Welcome to Manderley. This is all very new to me. Oh, I'm sure we won't disappoint him, madam, if that's your concern. We did a lot of entertaining when the late Mrs. De Winter was alive.
You can talk to me about her. I have no secrets from you.
All marriages have their secrets.
Lisa, give us the scoop on Rebecca.
Well, Neil, more to the point, this is also an adaptation of Daphne du Maurier's best-selling 1938 Gothic novel. Both movies are based on that. Lily James here is a newlywed who is overwhelmed by the huge English estate that she now has to manage upon marrying this very wealthy man. But she's even more overwhelmed by the legacy and the shadow of Rebecca, who is his dead wife. Her husband is, like I said, played by Armie Hammer, and here's the problem. I think the sweeping vistas are the most exciting part of this film. Both James and Hammer are the kind of beautiful looking actors who are oddly inert, in my opinion, in every role they're in. They seem to just suck all the life from everything around them. And their flatness, I think, takes the edge off of all the actual thrills of this psychological thriller. Even the normally vibrant Kristen Scott Thomas does not find her footing in what's an interesting role as a super subversive housekeeper.
Bill, what's your take?
This is such a bad movie. I mean,
Say it. You hate to agree with me.
Lisa's right when the stars are having to compete with the scenery, and the scenery wins. I mean, Monte Carlo is gorgeous. Okay, Ann Dowd is kind of funny in the beginning of the movie, but then she goes away, and she isn't even invited to a dance that she talks about for the first 20 minutes of the film. I just think this is a ridiculous remake. I think it's a misfire for Netflix, and I feel badly for them on this one.
Perry?
I think Ann Dowd was my favorite part of the movie, but I have
Aunt Lydia from A Handmaid's Tale.
She's always great. Lisa, I do have to disagree with you in general, though. I do think Armie Hammer and Lily James are hugely talented, and I think you see some of that in the first act of this movie. I think you see their chemistry shine through, but the second they go to Manderley, it is like the energy just gets completely sucked out of the room. And even though I think the broad strokes of the story do make sense, there are so many little beats here where I found myself just out of frustration shouting at the screen, why won't you just say what you mean? Where is this getting anyone? It turned out to be a really frustrating watch, but as a quick aside, ever since seeing and becoming hugely obsessed with The Favorite, I can spot that location in any movie, and I kind of love it.
Look, remaking Alfred Hitchcock films don't always go very well. Remember Psycho with Vince Vaughn? Just to use that as an example.
Do you think that he's referring to the book, though, not the film?
Well, this is actually more faithful in some ways to the novel than the 1940 movie, because there were adult themes in this that, because of strict Hollywood production codes 80 years ago, they couldn't broach. But it doesn't really matter. And look, if you haven't seen the movie or read the novel, then maybe you'd find this somewhat interesting. But the problem that I have with this is the problem that I have with all of these type of remakes, like the Mildred Pierce miniseries. Yeah, they look beautiful. The production values are better, but it's just not. This one lacks the Hitchcock touch. I like Joan Fontaine and Laurence Olivier better, and it's just like Bill had that sign that said "snore." Yeah, so it looks better. So what? I'd say if you can, the original one's on YouTube. You want to watch that one? It's a better watch. Perry, why don't you tell us about a movie called Save Yourselves?
I am so happy I got to come on the show and put the spotlight on two first features that are excellent, directorial debuts, I should say. This one comes from Alex H. Fisher and Eleanor Wilson, and it's about a couple living in Brooklyn who decide to go to a cabin upstate and unplug for a little bit. Problem is, when they go up there, the world is attacked, and because they're disconnected, they don't know about it. I totally fell for this movie, mainly because of Sunita Mani and John Reynolds. The two of them, like their back and forths and their chemistry in general was just through the roof from start to finish. And a lot of the jokes here land very well, but I also think where Fisher and Wilson find some really great success is blending those laughs and that good time with actually establishing some real stakes and a sense of danger. And I think a lot of that connects to their creativity as far as what is attacking the world, which I was wildly amused by.
Listen, I don't know what I'm missing here, Perry. You recommended that we watch this movie, but I thought the couple had no chemistry whatsoever. I thought that the comedy missed the mark. I understand that it's satirical, but the satire didn't work for me. And the aliens that are attacking the world, they call them poofs. They look like something out of this Star Trek episode called The Trouble with Tribbles. And I understand that it's supposed to look cheesy, which might have worked for a 1950s kind of horror film, which you kind of forgive. But I just think this thing was a complete misfire, and I did not like it at all. Lisa, you're shaking your head.
I'm not in love with the movie, but I think you're kind of wrong. Like, it's supposed to look lo-fi, and it looks lo-fi, and it's wonderful. I mean, who says aliens have to be scary? The fact that they look like poofs is actually one of the more comical flourishes of the film. And by the way, I think the leads have wonderful chemistry and are actually in a relationship in real life. So it's kind of interesting that you say that. But here's my thing. Quinoa, mustaches, sourdough starter, alien invasion. It's pretty much everything that you need to brilliantly mock hipsters in sort of a nouveau survivalist package. It's shooting fish in a barrel maybe, but I dug it anyway. I do like this film.
Mr. McCuddy.
I agree with everyone except you. I think I think the chemistry is really good. I think this is that you don't get some things. This is poof positive, and I don't know why the poofs were pink at one point and brown at another, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this was just a load of fun, and it gets all the Brooklyn hipster stuff correct. So for me, that was part of the joy, and I recommend it.
Not funny, not enjoyable. Let's move on to a movie that I also didn't find fun or enjoyable. It's called The War with Grandpa. And Bill, you can tell everybody about it.
Peter and his grandfather used to get along until Grandpa moved into the house. Robert De Niro leads a cast of unknowns, including Uma Thurman, Jane Seymour, Christopher Walken, Cheech Marin, and the little boy Peter is kind of been around a little while, but I hadn't seen him before. His name is Oakes Fegley. Listen, this movie is not great, but it's not terrible. Maybe I expected it to be just god-awful, and it wasn't. I laughed out loud a couple of times, and got a sweet kind of a message to it. So I think for certain audiences in a certain mood, this is a good film to watch.
Lisa, please help me out here.
Okay, first of all, it is hard to watch De Niro phone it in for a movie like this when you know he can still turn in performances like the one he did for The Irishman. This is so sitcom-style grating that even the soundtrack felt like it should be in a WB like 90s series. I'm sorry, what mother in this millennium, let alone Uma Thurman, like so miscast, does embroidery in her spare time? I was just watching this movie like, what is this? The good news is that we watch this movie so that you don't have to, viewers.
It's not Harry.
All right, I'm going back to Bill here because I'm kind of with you and I'm kind of not. On the one hand, I don't think this is a good movie, but I didn't end the movie thinking that I had completely wasted my time. I did laugh at a couple of moments here and there, and I like a lot of the young ensemble here, but I think the message of the movie is just like a complete utter mess, and I think there are so many signs that show that they have no clue how to end this story, particularly with a certain speech that we get in the end, and also even with the last shot of the movie, which feels like tonally completely out of left field down to this fade to black that feels so wrong. But this other thing might be a little inside baseball, but another thing that was so distracting to me was how often I noticed how long ago this movie was shot, because Oakes Fegley has done a number of movies, and so has some of the other kids in this movie, and they look completely different here. And maybe I should be able to separate this movie from their other work, but because of the release order here and because of the quality of this movie, I just couldn't.
Yeah, I'm with you. This movie was lying on the shelf for years. And I think if we weren't in this pandemic situation, they might have never have released it. And maybe we would have all been better off for that. Listen, Robert De Niro's done a lot of lousy movies over the years, and I'm embarrassed for him, and I'm embarrassed for the rest of the cast. I mean, Christopher
it's
Walken.
not as bad as you're saying.
Come on,
it is.
Uma
I
Thurman.
agree.
This is
I
a
agree
wait a
with
minute. Let me have my day in court here, okay? This is a paycheck movie. These people probably all signed in just to get a paycheck here. I was embarrassed for these actors. It's got a Home Alone vibe, but not even as, I won't even put it on that level, but that's what they're trying to do.
A week ago, I awoke
Mother?
to find that my mother was missing, and she did not return.
I'm presently on the way to collect my brothers, Mycroft and Sherlock.
Yes, Sherlock Holmes, the famous detective, my genius brother. He will have all the answers.
Enola.
Where's your hat and your gloves?
Well, I have a hat, just makes my head itch. And I have no gloves.
My God.
That was a clip from the new movie Enola Holmes. It happens to be Bill McCuddy's personal choice as we go around the panel, as we do every month, with our critics' picks of the month. Bill.
Hey, this should be a kid's movie, but it's totally not. It's a great film that works for audiences of all ages, and it's almost exclusively because of Millie Bobby Brown. She's the Enola Holmes, the title character. She's also Sherlock Holmes' little sister. So the question is, can she out-sleuth Henry Cavill, her bigger brother, to find her mother, Helena Bonham Carter? Also, can she save a lord she has a kind of crush on? This is much, much, much better than you think it is. It gets like 90 or 93 on Rotten Tomatoes, and you'll thank me if you watch it.
Perry?
I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie. I just wasn't feeling the need for another Sherlock Holmes type adaptation, but I was so blown away by it.
You know, it's based on a series of YA novels by Nancy Springer, and Netflix spent a lot of dough on this. And if they want to make more of her books, I say bring it on. Lisa, what do you got?
I'm into a movie called 40-Year-Old Version, which is on Netflix right now. A real-life rapper and real-life TV and playwright Radha Blank has basically made her definitive memoir masterpiece, which, by the way, was the belle of Sundance last year. In this black and white film about, you guessed it, the Harlem-based rapper and writer Radha Blank. She even uses her own name. The premise here is that she's turning the corner to 40. Her beloved mother has just died. Her high school teaching job is giving her tons of agita, and her career as a playwright is super stalled out. So she channels her frustration into, transforming herself into a middle-aged rapper. The film takes its time in ways that I think may bug some, but I saw this as a jazz composition more than anything else. It's artful, it's sharp-witted, it's plaintive, it's deep, it's unpredictable for sure, and its codas and turn out the richest material here. Let us say that she just thrives on failure to sometimes harrowing but mostly wonderful effect.
Bill?
This movie is okay. It's not quite as good as it thinks it is, and it ends about, it's like a Neil Rosen question. It doesn't quite know when to end, but and so I'm not saying don't see the film. I'm just saying it got a little more praise than it deserved.
Perry?
I'm the exact opposite, where I could have watched hours and hours more of Radha's story. I couldn't get enough of it. The whole, it had such a unique and refreshingly honest vibe to it. It's funny, it's sweet, it's sharp, and it does all. Oh, I got a sign in. You spelled my name wrong, so it doesn't count.
I'm with you, Perry, and I'm with you, Lisa. It's a really cool pick, Lisa, and it's sharp writing and good direction. What a debut. I think that Radha Blank is somebody we're going to hear a lot from in the future. I recommend this one as well. All right, Perry, tell me your critics pick this month.
My critics pick is The Haunting of Bly Manor. It's the sequel season to The Haunting of Hill House, but this is an anthology series, so this is new characters and a new story, but it brings back Victoria Pedretti, who this time plays Danny Clayton. She's hired to be the au pair of two young kids who just lost their parents, and they're living in Bly Manor. For anyone out there who is looking at this expecting super big ghost related scares, or maybe more specifically jump scares, this isn't that kind of horror story. It is far more a emotionally driven love story than anything, with the scares that you do get, scares that are powerful to keep you up at night, much more rooted in love, loss, and just general mortality. I really think that this is something special that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. I've watched it more times than I can count. And like Hill House, keep an eye on this ensemble. For the new faces here that weren't in Hill House, Tania Miller and Amelia Eve, they're both going to be huge. I would bet on it.
You know, I loved this series, and I didn't quite know what to expect. I mean, there's so many different levels of it that work really well. Sort of reminds me of Ryan Murphy if he was soulful and there was less blood spill, basically.
Bill's shaking his head. Bill?
Here's the problem. I just couldn't.
All right, you're pithy, but you're not right.
So clever. With
Live
the
and not
Just
funny.
Okay, everybody calm down, calm down. I only watched 1.5 episodes. This is
here we go.
least favorite thing about me. But
Yes, I really do
I will
hate
say
that. You're right.
Why you
it's
didn't
the
email me back.
It's the job of a decent series to pull you in, and I was utterly unengaged from the beginning.
I'm mixed on this. I think it looks great. From the production value is terrific. The acting's good, but they could have done this in half the episodes, but it's not without its attributes. Well, my pick is themed to Election Day, which is coming up. It's called Election. It was made in 1999, and it's arguably the best thing Reese Witherspoon has ever done. It's certainly the funniest. She nails her character, Tracy Flick, an incredibly annoying high school overachiever who'll stop at nothing to win an election to become student body president. It's also one of the best things Matthew Broderick has ever done, playing the teacher who's out to stop her. This is one of my all-time favorite films. Writer-director Alexander Payne made a brilliant, hilarious satire that takes on so many themes like adultery and corruption. Election is so smart, and it constantly surprises you. Lisa.
Okay, clever, absolutely. Great performances, totally. Good dialogue, of course. But the problem with this film today is that it rings more than a little hollow, I think, in 2020.
I can watch this movie still over and over to this day. And as much as I love a lot of Reese Witherspoon's filmography, I think Tracy Flick is one of the best cinematic characters we've got out there. And I think this is probably one of her best performances.
She's great. I just want to say, I think she's wonderful, but the premise of it surrounding her, I think it's queasy to me these days. I don't dig it anymore.
But I think he's gone on to make better films than Election, and I just don't think it's held up as well.
Well, on that note, that's about all the time we have. With any luck, we've given you some movies and TV shows to watch to help pass the time. I want to thank Lisa Rossman, Bill McCuddy, and Perry Nemiroff. Stay well. I'm Neil Rosen. Join us next time on Talking Pictures.